Well, hello, everyone. I know here in St. Louis, we're pretty much done with the heat by this point. So we're already melting. The Midwest is melting. How are you, Elizabeth?
I am good, and it's hot here in New York City as well.
Yeah. So if you guys hear some legit New York sounds in the background, you know that she's not kidding. She's really talking from the city itself. So Elizabeth Eiss is a self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur. She's the founder of Results Resourcing, and she is on a mission to empower your purpose with the skilled, flexible talent you need to succeed. She's a results driven guru, and I can attest to that with working with her for the past year. Trust me when I say. And she likes getting stuff done. I also love that about her. She's a thinker, a creator, a planner, people person, project leader. And I have to tell you that she has also run some very successful multi-billion dollar organizations, even to the startup ventures and a variety of other things in between. And she and I have had wonderful dialogue, and I can't wait to share her with all of you today. Welcome to the F Word, Elizabeth.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for a lovely introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, hey, those are you. It's all your accolades. Sometimes I get off these things and I think, I'm a slacker. I need to step it up a little bit more, Sheryl. My word. So I love to tell people how I get to meet cool people such as yourself. And you came to me by way of Amber Flanagan. She had told you about females in finance. And then here we are a year later, making stuff happen, being friends, doing referrals to one another. And it's just been, I just consider you my friend.
Well, likewise, and the word slacker would never be spoken in the same sentence as you. I appreciate the mutual admiration society here.
Yeah, no, I think it's really great. I want to talk about results resourcing, of course, but I really want to know how you got to where you're at today, especially in this freelance space, because you've done, I mean, your track record's amazing when you go back and look at all the things that you've done. I would like to know how you got to freelance out of all the stuff that's out there. Here you are.
Oh, well, that's a wonderful place to start. And I guess what I would say is like many of us, I spent years in corporate America and did a lot of really interesting things. And I will say over time, despite running some very large businesses, became really excited about small business. And the crux of that was that at one point I was offered an opportunity to work in the national accounts arena. And there were 1,000 national accounts, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 kind of companies. And I said to myself, well, there's only 1,000 of them. But if there's 30,000 and more small businesses, just the market seemed huge. And how could you help small businesses be more successful? So very early on, I got excited about the idea of small business. And I was also involved in a lot of technology projects, in corporate America. And eventually was offered an opportunity with a startup in New York City about 20 years ago. And it was all about expertise location. And that sounds like a crazy notion. But anyway, I left corporate America to join that company. And that started in my journey of using technology to facilitate matches between people who needed expertise and people who had expertise. And so that kind of crystallized where I've spent the last, 20 years or so. But ultimately, how it led me to freelancers was that any small business, any business, frankly, is resource constrained. Mm-hmm. So how do you make the most to grow your business? And it's finding the best talent possible that you can afford. And I discovered early on the power of freelancers. And very early in the process, I would hire freelancers to help me work projects in some of these early stage companies I was either working for or consulting with. And I, because of my corporate background, was very good at finding and vetting freelancers. And eventually my clients that I was consulting for said, oh, that Sheryl that works on your team is awesome. Can you find me a Sheryl? And of course I could, but how do you systemize that? So it would help people tell me what they need. It would help me find people and match them efficiently, so it was cost effective. So that's kind of how I got into finding freelancers. And that's what led me to ultimately build the results resourcing platform to automate what can be automated, but still allow the human interaction that's so important to making matches between people.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because as somebody who was a marketer, I got a bunch of awards back here, so I do a pretty good job at that. oftentimes what was happening, and I found this to be true. So here I am working at a firm once upon a time, running some of their marketing operations. And then I had those onesie, twosie, tensies conversations of, I just want you to do a little bit of work for me. You do such great work, just a little bit of work. And I kept thinking, oh, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. And it's because I felt as if you did that side hustle, that gig, that somehow it was like, oh, she's feeling kind of lazy, like she doesn't want to do her job, or oh, she needs some side hustle money. And it really wasn't that. Sometimes I got really excited about projects simply because of the meat and potatoes of what it was, like to get it to cross the front and then think I had a little bit of something to do with that. I thought that that was so cool. And so that gig economy today is extremely real. And no, it is not lazy people. No, it is not always somebody who doesn't want to work at a real job. I've heard that one too, a real job, or they're trying to make ends meet. So they have to do this work. Talk to us about the freelancers and how they view their work and why we need them today more than we've ever needed them before.
Well, to me, the gig economy is all about professional freelancers. Yeah, there's plenty of people. I think the old mindset was gig worker was temp work, and there are people in between jobs, and that's not the way it is today. The number of people that have formed businesses to really do what they love, what they're great at, is skyrocketing. Whether they're solopreneurs or people that are forming small firms that are hiring their own freelancers so they can scale their specialty. But I think the key to the gig economy is the professionalism of people that are expert at something. So we've always thought about, a CPA or an attorney, that's contract work. They're not
exactly.
Exactly. And so more and more people are doing that exact same thing. So freelance is contract work. That's all it is. And so to me, it's just the pool of people and professional skills that can be delivered as a service to you, whatever your business needs, is just expanding, and it's getting better and better because it's now a kind of a form of work that's broadly accepted by the largest corporations to very small non-employee firms.
I keep wondering right now as people are listening or if they're watching on YouTube, I keep wondering how many people are sitting back on, she just referred to me as a freelancer, or yes, you are, because people are paying for a service that you're not necessarily providing 40 hours a week. It just doesn't work like that. And I think
ResultsResourcing, we call them freelance professionals.
And I really, really love that because it's kind of a reminder. It brings everything back down to like, everybody can do this job, including you. I mean, and I actually enjoy that kind of work too, once in a while, where somebody will pull me even if females in finance, I'll have some of the women will reach out to me and say, hey, Sheryl, I have this project. I need about 2 hours of your consulting time on it. I love that. Are you kidding? So I don't have to go all in. I don't have to deliver it across, the finish line. You just want this piece that I do well. I got you. I love that. And then when it's all done, I get back and go, I saw that. I remember when that was in idea form and we helped, bring some things to it. So I think that that's really important for people to remember. And for anyone who's listening or watching right now, I'm going to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room. So Elizabeth, why not just go to Fiverr? And I actually have, before you answer this question, I want to share something because I know the mindset is, oh, I can just go to Fiverr. I can pay somebody $50, $75, but $5. I don't care. It doesn't matter, and get something. So Daryl and I were working on something. I needed an infographic. Seems pretty easy, right? An infographic. Oh, you're going to plug in this. Da-da-da. I am going to tell you, besides the fact that it took me almost 8 days to get it done with the person from Fiverr, because they were having there were definitely some language problems with understanding what I was telling them and what they were hearing. But second, it just wasn't looking the way that I wanted it. And I got so frustrated in the process, I ended up paying for the work done, closed it out. And then I went and hired a private person to do it. So I actually I double dipped into the pool. And I don't think that that's uncommon. I'm at least willing to admit that I made a mistake I should have just gone someplace and said, I need a professional resource for this, you know. So talk to me about the other working, I guess, Upwork and is it up? I haven't even been there. So.
Yeah, it's called Upwork. That's the, both Upwork and Fiverr are gigantic public companies now. They both went public last year, and their market capitalization is enormous, which really reflects, I think, the movement towards using freelancers to do different kinds of work. And I think that what platform is the right platform is really what you want, and I think at the end of the day, I think about these different platforms with a couple of lenses. One is that, if you're looking for high quality professional work, expecting it for $50 through any platform is unrealistic.
Thank you.
And when you're thinking about using talent, I mean, the beauty of platforms is they can be global. And there's so many wonderful entrepreneurial minded people all over the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're right for your project, for a couple of reasons. One, do they understand the culture, your mission, communications? Are they well-versed in English and understanding what you want? And culturally, sometimes countries are just different in terms of they get a spec and their interpretation of the spec isn't what.
And that's what our situation was.
Yeah,
that was exactly it.
It's not that, it's just a different, style. And I think I'm a little, I feel like I'm preaching here a little bit, but it's like, I'm a little bit on the side of, buy American. You can get some really great people in the United States and Canada. Yes, they're going to cost a little bit more. And it's not going to be minimum wage, but the quality you're going to get is going to be reflective of the culture that's probably right for your business, the time zone. And the other thing that concerns me a little bit more and more with all that we're reading about ransomware and things like that is, do you really want to share, your client list or access to your CRM to resources around the world? And that's there's just security issues. And so I'm just cautious about some of those things. But at the end of the day, a lot of the clients that come to results resourcing are people with the story that you just told. And you can get great people on those platforms, no question about it. But a lot of people, you're going to get something that's worth $50. If that's really
it's definitely the old adage, if you get what you paid for kind of a thing. And that for me was the first time I was like, man, I got so burned on this project. And, quite frankly, I had, before I met you, I had hired someone on that site to work on a website. And we ultimately ended up spending thousands of dollars for a site that I ended up building myself.
Yeah. Well,
because
and the
I was
other,
so frustrated.
in addition to those actual costs, it's the opportunity cost. All that time you spent trying to get something, make something work, and I think that that's one of the things that I end up talking to our clients and prospects about a lot is the ROI of your time.
Exactly.
The opportunity cost of working with an inexpensive resource, and you may or may not get what you need, and and how are you spending your time? Hopefully it's on the things that are going to have the best return for you, and outsourcing the things that are important to your company to make it run, but other people can do for you, and those are perfect roles for professional freelancers.
And I would say for anybody right now who just heard what Elizabeth said about opportunity cost, and you have a business coach, go talk to them about opportunity cost, because the very first thing they're going to say is, let me know about Elizabeth. Who's Elizabeth Eiss? I think I need a door, because that is the one thing they preach to us as business coaches. What's your opportunity cost in this? Are you spending time where you should be to get the best return? And I can guarantee you, I'm very vocal. I work with Lauren LaForge at Lauren LaForge Consulting, and she would be right there going, go sister. That's exactly it. Because it's actually one of the questions she'll ask me when I work on a project. Okay, well, what's your opportunity cost? What are we talking? I'm like, Lauren, she's like, no. You outsource that. outsource. And so I think that that's a really important reminder in this. So as we get to the wrap part, I love actionable education. This is the moment, because I have seen far too many times where people have listened to amazing podcasts, gone to terrific conferences, been a part of these wonderful webinars, and then they click or they walk out the door and then they're like, what did they say? I forgot. And this is your moment for those listening and watching. Please listen to actionable education. Elizabeth, all you shared about today on freelance work, the side projects of outsourcing and virtual assistants and things of these natures that we're all consider. What's that one takeaway you want the financial service professional listening today to act on, and make it something? And if it's a website, no matter what it is, we'll make certain it's available to them.
Awesome. Well, I think what I would return to is this notion of ROI and thinking hard, making a list. I mean, to talk about actual, just make a quick list. What are the things that you need to do that your clients pay you for, the value that you deliver that your clients pay you for? And then what are all the things that need to happen for you to run your successful business and support your clients that your clients aren't going to pay you for? And those are the administrative things, data entries, managing a CRM, a website, newsletters, email campaigns, a million things. Those are all things that need to happen to keep in touch with clients, but they're not going to pay you. That's an operating cost. They're not going to pay for that because that's not value to them. And making that quick list will help you decide, what's high ROI, what's low ROI work. And then you can kind of figure out, well, how much time am I spending in each bucket? And that's the ROI. That's the opportunity cost of spending time on low ROI work. And those are perfect candidates for outsourcing. And so my offer would be, there's nothing I love better than talking to people about, what do you outsource? How do you outsource? And what are your options? And so at Results Resourcing, we always offer a free consult, a 30-minute free consult, just to talk about your business. I'm happy to just share more about what I know and help you reflect on your business to determine from that bucket list, what are the things that you could outsource and how could that work for you? So I'm happy to offer that to anyone just by going to the Results Resourcing website and click on, hiring. I want to hire a freelancer. You register on the platform, which is really your name and email address. And then you're given a choice to start a job survey, which you certainly can do, or you can sign up for a free consult. And you'll be talking to me because we're having this conversation with females in finance, and I'm a big fan.
And I appreciate that. And I have to tell you that take this opportunity to take Elizabeth up on that offer, because one of the things that I think I've learned is I'm good at a lot of things. And I think this is something that a lot of, especially more so with the female centric part of the work we do at Females in Finance, we are good at a lot of different things, very, very multi-talented, multi-passionate people, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're supposed to be in doing those things.
Exactly.
Right. And that was a really big realization when I hired a coach, and she was like, great that you know how to build a website. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
That's not where your time is best spent for your community. I'm like, oh, you're right. And that's sometimes really hard to let go. And I think one of the things I love is the way you have your platform set up. It allows the let go to be at your pace of comfort, so take Elizabeth up on that, and we'll make sure that you got a link to that. So, everybody, this is the part where a lot of people dread this. And I was like, what is she going to ask? It's the 3 questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I have to answer them too. And it gets to know Elizabeth a little bit better. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You ready? All right, here we go. Number 1, what is a quality you admire in someone?
Integrity. I mean, I think ultimately, not everyone's going to feel the same way, have the same life experiences, but if you can be open and honest and have integrity about your views, I can respect that.
I like to say do. That's kind of it, right? I mean, that's what it is. I think for me, one of the qualities I admire in someone else is when I see them being kind, just genuine kindness. And it comes in little forms. Like, I'm super observant in places where people are served, like restaurants are easy to pick up on. I will pay attention to how someone treats a server.
Yeah.
because however you treat that server, you treat probably staff and other people like that too.
Yeah.
And so I make it a point, if someone is coming and relieving a glass or something, you know, doing something, I will take time to look at them and say, thank you for that. And I realize some people are like, that's their job. That's not the point.
Yeah.
It's just being kind, showing some kindness to somebody. It's a big deal for me.
Yep.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the one thing that they needed that whole day because everybody else was a jerk. You know, they just need that little sliver of, oh yeah, there is some humanity left in there. So I'm a big one on kindness.
Help them enjoy their job, you know?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it makes them want to come back the next day. And trust me, with all the help wanted signs out there in the world today, they'd be nice. How about this? Number 2, what do you know is bad for you, but you continue to do it anyway? I'm going to tell on me first. I bought a stand-up desk and I'm sitting here talking to you. I spent $1,000 on this desk and here I am sitting. Oh, and even my Apple Watch is going, time to stand up. I'm like, yeah, I know. Calm it down.
Well, I would say it's probably not bad for me, except in the quantities I consume it. And that would be dark chocolate and espresso with dark chocolate in it.
So okay. So when
caffeine and dark chocolate together.
Yeah, I got to tell you, when Daryl and I were in Manhattan a few years back, we had gone over to Central Park, and there's like a coffee, like a French cafe that was there. The most delicious hot chocolate I have ever consumed in my life. Consumed. And don't come at me with your Starbucks people. I don't want to hear it. There's no comparison. This was and you know, you had to add the hot chocolate. Oh, it was dark chocolate, hot chocolate, and we added espresso to it. It was divine.
Yeah,
divine. I agree with you on that. And this one I saved just for you. Out of all the interviews I've done, I waited for this one for you. What is your favorite thing to do in New York?
Oh, wow. That's not fair. There's just so much.
I know.
You know, I would probably say walking around.
Yeah.
Because New York is such a city of villages within a big Manhattan island. I live in a neighborhood, you know, in Manhattan. And I love my neighborhood, you know, all my dry cleaner, my grocery store, all my wine shop, all those kind of things. And I have books on great walks to take in New York. Aww. And I will go take walks in other parts of the city because they have different personalities. And obviously COVID's had a bit of an impact, but the city's coming back. So I think just exploring, walking around New York is my favorite thing.
I have to say, I think that my favorite thing in New York, oh man, because Daryl, we travel a lot, but I would say that people are shockingly nice.
Oh yeah.
I think I live in the Midwest. Okay. We get pretty like, you don't like me. And no, but the thing is that they are shockingly helpful. Like they will just step up in a moment. Like if something's going on and they don't just kind of leave you hanging out there. Like people, I think, try to portray. You're definitely harder and you gotta be, because you're moving, but they're shockingly nice.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, but I think the fact that, you know, walking is one of the main ways people get around. There's an approachability. It's not like everyone's in a car and, you know,
that's a good point, because you are next to each other and stuff.
It's like somebody needs direction or just, I mean, I find people to be on the whole very nice and friendly too.
I love that. We stayed, it was supposed to be Little Italy. I think it was a little more Chinatown, but that's okay. But we had gone and walked around the corner to a very traditional Chinese restaurant, which my husband thought Panda Express was. I'm like, no, honey. No. Exactly. He since has learned. Okay. I lived in San Francisco 20 years and we have our own Chinatown. So I'm like, yeah, you just kind of, so we go in there and I'll never forget sitting in the window. And there was a city worker outside that was replacing, it looked like either a hydrant or something like that. And he was waiting for a part. He just pumped up the music and stood out there and he just did his dance, and he had his dance on and people were walking by and dancing with him. And they'd walk by. And I remember, and I took a video of it, because to this day, it's still one of my most, I mean, look how much joy it brought me watching this
Yeah.
man just thought, I got 15 minutes. I'm going to sit here and dance on the
Hey,
street.
Yeah, there's a level of spontaneity,
Yeah.
here that is really, it's really
It's
fun.
palatable. You can feel
Yeah.
it when you're there. I love it. I love it. I love it. And, I'm going to make certain, like I said, we'll provide all the ways that people can connect with you and contact you. You have just become such a great resource to females in finance, a friend. I'm so grateful you took this time today to chat with me. Thank you for this, Elizabeth.
Thank you. It's a privilege. And I'm looking forward to getting to know more of the members. And we're ending on a little New York City lullaby with a couple of cars honking. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. So for the listeners, I want to thank you for listening or watching. If you're watching this on YouTube today for this episode of The F Word, you can learn more about Elizabeth and the topic we covered by visiting the links we're going to provide on her episode page. And if you love today's podcast, you did. It's Elizabeth Eiss. We do want you to subscribe. Make sure that you hashtag females and finance to it so we can find it and interact with you and engage with you. But we always want you to remember the F word is where females in finance are not dirty words. Thank you for being on here, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Take care.